Professional news. Jeremy Clarkson claps back at Victoria Derbyshire over farm protest question, classic BBC. In a display of tension between high-profile figures and media institutions, Jeremy Clarkson made headlines once again as he sharply responded to a question posed by BBC journalist Victoria Derbyshire. The exchange occurred amidst a protest by farmers in London against proposed tax reforms affecting the agricultural sector. The event, marked by a blend of frustration, solidarity, and political outcry, sheds light on broader issues concerning media representation, government policies, and the resilience of the farming community. The farmers' protest. Background and context. The UK government's recent proposal to introduce a tractor tax, which would impose a 20% inheritance tax on farms valued above £1 million, has sparked widespread controversy. The move is seen by many as a threat to family-run farms, potentially forcing land sales and undermining generational continuity in agriculture. The National Farmers Union (NFU) has been vocal in opposing the tax, arguing that it disproportionately impacts small to medium-scale farmers. Jeremy Clarkson, a former Top Gear host and the current star of Amazon Prime's Clarkson's Farm, has become an unexpected advocate for farmers. Owning and operating his diddly squat farm in the Cotswolds, Clarkson has developed a deeper appreciation for the challenges faced by the agricultural sector. He joined over 10,000 farmers in London to protest the policy, using his platform to amplify their concerns. The exchange. Clarkson vs. Derbyshire. During the protest, Clarkson was interviewed by Victoria Derbyshire for a segment intended to explore the motivations and grievances of the demonstrators. Derbyshire, known for her incisive questioning, brought up a 2021 interview in which Clarkson had seemingly acknowledged tax benefits as a factor in purchasing his farm. "Wasn't the inheritance tax advantage part of your decision to buy the farm?" Derbyshire inquired, referencing his earlier remarks. Clarkson, visibly irritated, responded sharply, "That's classic BBC, isn't it? Always trying to twist things into a narrative. I bought the farm because I wanted to shoot on it, and yes, it turned out there were inheritance tax benefits. But that's not why I'm here. This tax will devastate families and communities." A polarizing debate. Clarkson's retort quickly gained traction on social media, with supporters praising his candor and critics accusing him of deflecting legitimate questions. The phrase, "classic BBC," trended on Twitter, encapsulating a broader debate about perceived biases in media coverage. In follow-up comments, Clarkson elaborated on his position: "This isn't about me or any one individual. It's about thousands of hard-working farmers who will lose their livelihoods if this tax goes through. The government needs to think about food security, rural communities, and fairness." The broader implications. The proposed tax reform has reignited discussions about the viability of traditional farming in the face of modern economic pressures. Advocates argue that inheritance taxes are necessary to address wealth inequality and bolster public finances. However, critics contend that such measures disproportionately affect sectors like agriculture, where land value often exceeds liquid assets, making it difficult for families to pay taxes without selling off parts of their farms. Farmers at the protest shared stories of generational sacrifices to maintain their land. For many, the farm is not just a business but a way of life tied to heritage and identity. "I've worked this land for 30 years, said one protester. "If this tax passes, my children won't be able to afford to keep it." The role of public figures in advocacy. Jeremy Clarkson's involvement has brought renewed attention to farming issues, leveraging his celebrity status to highlight concerns often overlooked in mainstream discourse. While some dismiss his advocacy as opportunistic, others view it as a genuine effort to support a cause he has grown passionate about. In his address to the crowd, Clarkson urged the government to reconsider, stating, "Admitting a mistake isn't a sign of weakness, it's a sign of strength. This policy is a mistake. It's time to back down." Media responsibility and public perception. The clash between Clarkson and Derbyshire underscores ongoing tensions between public figures and journalists. Media outlets play a critical role in holding individuals and institutions accountable, but the line between scrutiny and sensationalism is often blurred. For the BBC, the incident highlights challenges in navigating contentious topics without appearing biased. Critics have long accused the broadcaster of harboring ideological leanings, though the institution maintains its commitment to impartiality. Conclusion. The farmers' protest and the accompanying media spectacle offer a microcosm of larger societal debates about wealth, fairness, and the role of government. Jeremy Clarkson's outspoken stance, coupled with Victoria Derbyshire's probing questions, has amplified these issues, sparking discussions that extend far beyond the fields of rural England. As the government reviews its policy, the farming community waits with bated breath, hoping for a resolution that balances fiscal responsibility with the preservation of a vital way of life. Jeremy Clarkson claps back at Victoria Derbyshire over farm protest question, classic BBC. In November 2024, Jeremy Clarkson, renowned for his Amazon Prime series, Clarkson's Farm, joined over 10,000 farmers in London to protest the UK government's proposed tractor tax. This policy aims to impose a 20% inheritance tax on farms valued over £1 million, a move that has sparked significant concern within the agricultural community. During the demonstration, Clarkson engaged in a heated exchange with BBC presenter Victoria Derbyshire. Derbyshire questioned whether Clarkson's purchase of his diddly squat farm was motivated by a desire to avoid inheritance tax, referencing a 2021 interview where he allegedly mentioned tax benefits as a factor. Clarkson retorted, labeling her line of questioning as classic BBC, and expressing frustration with what he perceived as the broadcaster's bias. Clarkson clarified that his initial motivation for purchasing the farm was his interest in shooting sports, which coincidentally came with inheritance tax advantages. He emphasized that the new tax policy would compel individuals like him to engage in complex estate planning, such as setting up trusts, to mitigate tax liabilities. He questioned why farmers should be subjected to such burdensome measures. The government's stance is that the new tax will affect only a minority of wealthy estates, estimating that approximately 500 farms will be impacted. However, the National Farmers Union (NFU) disputes these figures, arguing that a significant number of family farms will face financial strain, potentially leading to the sale of land and threatening the continuity of farming traditions. Clarkson, addressing the crowd during the protest, urged the government to reconsider the policy, stating, back down, you know, if you make a mistake, we all do, and they have, be big enough to say we made a mistake here, and then back down." The protest highlighted the deep-seated concerns within the farming community regarding the potential impact of the inheritance tax changes. Farmers fear that the policy could undermine the viability of family-run farms, disrupt food production, and erode rural communities. The government's insistence on the necessity of the tax to bolster public finances has done little to assuage these fears. In the aftermath of the protest, discussions continue between farming representatives and government officials. The NFU is actively lobbying for a reconsideration of the tax policy, emphasizing the need for a solution that supports public services without jeopardizing the agricultural sector's sustainability. As of now, the government remains steadfast in its position, leaving the future of the proposed tax uncertain.